Let's talk about having bad habits, right? And how to swap them as a mom, a single mom with one income. One of the things that I know I'm guilty of is, shopping out of impulse. Sometimes we could convince ourselves very easily that we need something right there and then. And most of the time we don't. So one of the things that I have learned to do this online and offline is to create a wish list, okay? And actually, wait at least a week. This is so much better, especially online, because we could convince ourselves, for example, Amazon, to buy 10 million things very easy, and that cart could go from $20 to $2,000 really quick. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's crazy how things can definitely add up. So one of the things that has helped me is to be like, okay, if it's not something like emergency, and I'm talking about food, you know what I mean, or something that's broken and you need it right there and then, medicine, stuff like that, it could wait, right? If it's not an emergency, it could wait. So what I do is I learn is to add a wish list, online and offline, and I wait a week. And I'm gonna tell you right now, 4 out of 5 times, I don't want it. I don't want it because I don't need it, and I realize it. So it gives me that time to really reflect, and it also helps me save money, okay? The other thing is overspending. It's so easy to overspend. You go to the store, I have done it, where I go to the store and I'm just trying to get one thing and I leave with 5 bags. Go ahead and comment if it has happened to you, because I don't know who it has not happened to. So one of the ways that can help you is start budgeting. And one of the methods that helped me so much when it comes to overspending is the bank system that I have mentioned before, where I actually created different accounts for different things. And I had one account that was my whatever money, and no guilt money. And I say if I have $200 in there and I have to only have it for until I get paid again, it helps you to reflect if things that you really want, if this is what you need, do you need all these things at that moment, or can it wait? And it helps you to kind of control yourself a little bit more. So if you know that you have $200 and you're not going to have another $200 until 2 weeks later, you start spending that $200 wisely, and you think a little bit more of what you're actually spending on. So that's one of the great ways. It's a very easy, and not just easy, but it's such a great way to start controlling how much money you spend, especially on things that you don't really need, but things that you want, okay? The other thing that is very, very important, it's a bad habit, is you feel helpless and you want to avoid the numbers. I understand, I get it. However, avoiding your problems does not make your problems go away. It's just reality. So one of the things that you want to do is actually face it. And by facing it, then you'll be like, okay, what can I do about it at this moment? What will work for you? Because what worked for me 5 years ago is totally different what is working for me now, because I'm in a different situation, financial situation, than I was before. So you want to start setting goals that are realistic at the moment for you, okay? Because not everybody's, has the same circumstances, and not everybody has the same situation, and not everybody brings the same income. But facing it is your first step. And then that way you can actually start feeling okay, what is it that I want to do? What is your goals? What's your short-term goals, and what is your long-term goals? And write them down. The other thing is dining out. We're guilty of this. We spend too much money on eating out. Especially now, it's crazy how much everything is more expensive. Before, we could get a really, really good meal between 2 people in a regular place for $20-$30. Now it's $20-$30 just by itself to spend. It's just crazy. But this is when, for me, what works for me really, really good is meal plan. Now what I do is I meal plan for the week, and it works out wonders. And what has helped me is that some people have different meal planning. The way I do it is I actually cook one huge meat and maybe 2 other sides. And what I do is throughout the week, I'll just make different meals out of that one meat. And it just makes it so much easier, especially me working still 9 to 5, to make it so much easier for me to cook. Because the main part is actually done. And I'll just have to come up with, okay, what can I do with this ground beef? I did tacos yesterday. Okay, what can I do? Maybe I could do spaghettis today. It just makes it a little bit easier, especially on the weekdays. So I definitely recommend to meal plan. And if you want to meal plan and just do it by containers, go for it. Me, I don't like that, but everybody's different. Now, the other thing is a bad habit. I know I'm guilty of this, but I feel like when I get up in the morning, I feel like I don't have nothing to wear. What a lie. What a lie. I go into my closet, there's so much clothes, but it's because it's a psychology thing. We're always trying to keep up with the trends and keeping up with the fashion gurus and stuff like that. So one of the ways that can help you, and do not be ashamed, is thrift shopping. You'd be amazed of the clothes that you could get. Sometimes you could get even brand new clothes in a good thrift shop, and you could save tons of money. Remember, clothes is the most marked up item, and it's just amazing. Just think about this. You could have the same sweater, same fabric, cotton, 100% cotton, white sweater, and you could go one store and spend, let's say, $10 for it. But if you go to, the Coach, or you go to a brand, like a, name brand store, it could be the same thing. Just because it has a logo, it's $200. And people are willing to buy, not for the sweater, not for the fabric, but for the brand name. You're willing to spend $190 more just because it has a little logo. And sometimes if it doesn't show the logo, sometimes it's just in the tag. Just because you have it just makes you feel better. You know what I mean? And sometimes once you start, your eyes are open and you realize, how it really is, you start thinking very differently, especially with your money, because it's just not worth it. You come to a point in your life, it's like, being comfortable, being, having good, clean clothes, nice clothes, doesn't have to be expensive. You know what I mean? It's all about style, and having a good style could make you look more expensive than having name brand stuff. Trust me. Another thing that you want to avoid, which is a bad habit, some people do it, which is not good, is pay late on their bills. And then what happens is that you have all these late fees added. Now, some companies, they do not report to your credit bureau until 30 days late after your grace period. However, that late charge, that $15, $20 late charge, sometimes even more, that could be savings. You don't need to do that. You do not need to make them, give them more money than you need to. So one of the easiest ways to get away from that and stop making that habit, because you forgot to pay the bill, it's due on the 15th, and you're like, oh my God, it's the 16th, I forgot to pay the bill. Then boom, you have a late charge. Sometimes they waive it, but sometimes they don't. And then you have that. And then especially if you have a bad habit of continue paying late all the time, it's not good. One of the ways, and the best way to avoid that, is setting up for auto pay. Okay, so that would be a great way. And you could have one account just for your bills, and you could just have all your bills there, set up for auto pay. Just, you want to budget that out. That's going to be just enough for the bills that are, that's the same every single month. Okay, so another thing is, and the most important thing is, to actually not track your money, not tracking how much you spend, and not tracking how much you're bringing in. And sometimes facing your problems is also understanding where is the problem, okay? And that's why I created a free budget and debt-free spreadsheet that you can use, and it breaks everything down. It just makes it so much easier for you to actually start getting a hold and control of your income. Because in order for you to reach any goals, let's say if you want to fix your credit, or if you want to be a homeowner, or you want to get into, just maybe you want to start a business, whatever the case is, and you live in, or you just want to get off the paycheck by paycheck and struggling and, asking for people for help and stuff like that, or depending on someone that you don't want to, maybe you're in a bad situation, you want to get out of that situation, you can't because financially you won't be able to handle everything by yourself. These are the great reasons why it's very, very important. And these are great reasons why you should start, go ahead and getting your finances in order, because you'll definitely be able to get yourself in a better situation. It's going to take time. It's going to take discipline, but it's possible. Never forget that. Go ahead and follow for more.